Wife, didn't he just inject me with a drug that caused muscle atrophy? After stealing my research formula, I turned around and reported her. I gave her a very special gift to pave the way for her junior. My wife, the director of a pharmaceutical factory, injected me with a drug that caused muscle atrophy, leaving me unable to move normally. Then she took the targeted drug formula I had spent 3 years developing. Because of the drug's side effects, my legs became paralyzed. Yet she was busy holding a press conference for her junior. That junior, eager for credit and reckless, secretly increased the dosage, causing a fatal incident on the very day the drug launched. My wife altered the formula overnight and blamed me, saying my formula was flawed, which was why lives were lost. To calm public outrage, she demoted me on the spot and cut my salary, forcing me to kneel and apologize to the victims. In the workshop, she lowered her voice and said, "You re-experienced. What kind of storm haven't you weathered? This is nothing to you." But Ahau is still just a kid. He can handle something like this. If he has to carry responsibility for a death, his whole life will be ruined. Hearing that, I laughed. Seeing how cooperative I seemed, my wife even claimed that once the investment talks were over, she would publicly announce our marriage. I cut her off with a cold smile. You won't get that chance just now. I already reported both of you to the Regulatory Bureau. At that, every co-worker present looked stunned. No one expected someone as easygoing as me to fight back. My wife's junior, Lin Hao, instantly reddened around the eyes and said tearfully, "Senior, this is all my fault. I'll resign and take responsibility right now. I won't make things difficult for anyone." He made as if to leave, but Sang Lin immediately stopped him. She said gently, "Ahau, this isn't your fault. It's all Shen He. He was jealous of how quickly you got promoted, so he deliberately handed you a faulty formula. Otherwise, how could something this serious have happened?" Then she turned a cold gaze toward me. "Shen He, you're truly vicious. You won't even spare a young man." In an instant, everyone looked at me with contempt. So that's why Shen He suddenly acted so generous. He gave up years of work, just like that. Turns out he was setting Lin Hao up. How sinister. No wonder he suddenly became paralyzed. That's karma. I gave a self-mocking smile. Clearly, Sang Lin was the one who stole my formula. Yet once trouble came, she dumped all the blame on me, and everyone thought my paralysis had come out of nowhere. They had no idea that Sang Lin caused it herself. When I came back to my senses, Lin Hao was covering his mouth and feigning shock. "Brother He, why would you do this to me? Is it because I took your deputy director position before? I was only joking around. I never thought Senior would actually appoint me. Maybe I should just give the deputy director position back to you." Not long ago, Sang Lin had been about to announce me as deputy director, but Lin Hao rushed onto the stage first and deliberately ruined it. Now he was still acting innocent after getting exactly what he wanted. The moment he finished, the co-workers began mocking me. "Lin Hao, you and Director Sang are clearly a pair. The deputy director position was yours to begin with. How could that count as taking anything?" Exactly. Shen He not only covets the deputy director role, he even dreams of being with Director Sang, as if he deserves her. Lin Hao's eyes gleamed with smugness, yet he still pretended to be kind. "Don't say that about Brother He. A graceful lady naturally attracts admirers. Senior is so beautiful. It's normal for him to like her." With just a few words, he firmly painted me as the third party. The mood suddenly shifted. Everyone began shipping him and Sang Lin, teasing that good news must be close. Lin Hao smiled shyly. I looked up at Sang Lin, hoping she would tell the truth, but she said nothing. That was as good as an admission. I laughed bitterly at myself. Everyone thought I was the one pestering Sang Lin. But they didn't know that Sang Lin and I had been married for 10 years. Sang Lin feared gossip in the factory and never wanted to make it public. To avoid suspicion, she wouldn't even let me call her wife outside. At work, she was especially strict with me. I never complained. But now, the woman who always hated gossip was letting everyone cheer her on, and whether she loved Lin Hao or not had always been obvious. Hadn't it? Seeing me fall silent, Sang Lin's eyes flashed with a trace of guilt. Let us not bring up the past. Something this serious has happened. Someone has to take responsibility. As long as you're willing to shoulder everything, I can let your years of service count for something and refrain from firing you. I only found it ridiculous a week earlier to clear the way for Lin Hao. Sang Lin demanded that I hand over the formula I had spent 3 years developing and let him attend the press conference in my place. After I refused, Sang Lin had a huge fight with me and gave me the silent treatment. Then, 2 days ago, Sang Lin unexpectedly cooked for me herself and apologized, claiming she wanted to make peace. I thought she had finally come around, but after just one bite, I felt dizzy. Sang Lin seized the chance to inject me with the muscle atrophy drug, stole my formula, and gave it to Lin Hao, then attended the press conference at his side. In the end, Lin Hao, reckless in his hunger for credit, secretly increased the dosage and caused a fatal incident. I thought Sang Lin would learn her lesson. Instead, to protect Lin Hao, she twisted right and wrong and frantically shifted all the blame onto me. Thinking of that, I said coldly, the reason the drug had problems was because Lin Hao chased quick success and increased the dosage without permission. Whoever made the mistake should bear the consequences. Everyone immediately looked toward Lin Hao. Lin Hao's expression flickered for a moment, then his eyes quickly reddened. He answered softly, "Yes, it's all my fault. Senior, hand me over. As long as the factory can get through this crisis, I don't mind suffering a little." Sang Lin pulled him close with a pained expression. How? You're just too kind. This clearly wasn't your fault, yet you keep trying to take it all on yourself. She glanced at me and snorted coldly. Unlike certain people who have no sense of responsibility at all, he's grown, yet not even as sensible as a kid. I found it laughable. Lin Hao was only 3 years younger than me. But Sang Lin always used he's just a kid as an excuse to tolerate everything he did. Lin Hao once broke a sample we had worked hard to develop, and Sang Lin smiled and forgave him. When signing a contract, he left out several zeros, causing the factory to lose millions. Yet Sang Lin still didn't blame him. Instead, she promoted him and gave him a raise, telling him not to blame himself too much. But before, when I was 1 minute late because I was sick, Sang Lin had raised her voice at me, scolding me for having a poor attitude and not taking work seriously. Sure enough, when someone doesn't love you, everything you do becomes wrong. I was about to say more, but Sang Lin had already dismissed the meeting and pushed me, wheelchair and all, into her office. When she saw my legs resting on the wheelchair, a flicker of guilt passed through Sang Lin's eyes. She sighed and tried to persuade me. Shen He, I know you've been wronged this time, but Hao once saved my life. I owe him. You'll understand me, right? After a pause, she continued, but don't worry. This drug will only cause muscle weakness for 72 hours. Once the time is up, you'll recover. When your legs are better, I'll publicly announce our relationship and make up the honeymoon I owe you as compensation. How does that sound? Before I could answer, Lin Hao had already called out first, asking Sang Lin to go eat with him. Sang Lin's ears turned red. After telling me to go home and rest, she left me behind and hurried away. Watching her retreating figure, I forced out a bitter smile. Sang Lin, didn't he know that the person who saved her back then was me? Lin Hao had shamelessly taken credit for my deed. She also didn't he know that the drug she injected me with had serious side effects. My legs were already paralyzed. From the moment she cruelly acted against me for Lin Hao and left me paralyzed, there was no future left between us. Thinking that, I decisively called the police. Hello, I want to report Sang Lin, director of Zhouyang Pharmaceutical, for intentionally harming me. I had just finished filing the case with the police when a message popped up on my phone. It was from the regulatory department, showing that my report had been accepted. At that moment, a sharp pain shot through my knees. I sucked in a breath and wheeled myself to the hospital. The doctor looked at the bloodied wounds on my knees and asked in shock, "How did you end up like this?" I couldn't help but smile bitterly. Who would have imagined that the person who hurt me this badly would be my own wife? To calm the victim's anger, Sang Lin ignored my wishes and dragged me down from my wheelchair, forcing me to kneel and apologize. She pinned me down tightly. Sharp stones dug into my skin, and blood kept flowing. But compared with the pain in my body, the pain in my heart was even more suffocating. I swallowed the bitterness in my throat and said hoarsely, "I fell by accident," as the doctor cleaned my wounds. He happened to notice the wedding ring on my hand. With a curious smile, he asked, "Young man, you remarried. Why isn't your wife here with you?" Just as he spoke, my phone rang. Lin Hao had updated his social feed. In the video, he and Sang Lin were taking part in a street couples challenge. At the sound of a whistle, the two of them embraced and kissed like they couldn't bear to separate. The matching couple rings on their fingers were especially glaring. Only after a long while did they reluctantly pull apart. Sang Lin's face was flushed bright red, like a fully cooked little lobster. Passers-by cheered, "So sweet. May you last forever." Not long ago, I had also wanted Sang Lin to sit down and let me sketch a portrait of us as a keepsake. But she rejected me without hesitation, saying it would damage her image. And with people walking by, being watched would make her feel embarrassed. Yet now, she was joining Lin Hao in a couple's challenge, and under the gaze and teasing of strangers, she showed no discomfort at all. On the contrary, she seemed to enjoy it. So it turned out I simply wasn't worthy. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and replied to the doctor, "My wife is busy keeping her junior company." The doctor looked at me with sympathy and patted my hand in comfort. Perhaps because my heart had already gone cold, I didn't feel sad at all. I even gave Lin Hao's social post a big like. The post was deleted the very next second. Right after that, Sang Lin called me. The moment I answered, her furious voice came through. "Shen He, why did you go liking that post for no reason? You scared Hao so badly," he cried. I sneered. "I was just wishing you two a long and happy life together." Sang Lin grew even angrier. "Shen He, can't you speak normally? Do you have to be sarcastic about everything?" I was utterly speechless. In the past, when I made a scene over her and Lin Hao, she said I acted like a madman. Now I wasn't arguing or making trouble. I was simply going along with it. And she still said I was being sarcastic. She was truly impossible to please. Then Lin Hao's voice came from the other end. "Brother He, don't misunderstand. Senior and I are purely in a senior-junior relationship. It is just that the prize for this event happened to be honey which you like. Senior joined, so she could win it for you. Sang Lin chimed in from the side. Hao is the sensible one, unlike someone who gets jealous every day and maliciously assumes the worst of others. I nearly laughed. They were clearly the ones who wanted to participate, yet they dressed it up as if they were doing it for me. Thinking of that, I said coldly, "Is that so? Then how come you don't even know I am allergic to honey?" Without giving Sang Lin time to react, I hung up the phone. My emotions churned inside me. We had been married for 10 years. I knew every food she avoided and every preference she had, yet she didn't even know I was allergic to honey. She had never truly cared about me. If that was the case, it was time for this terrible marriage to end. After leaving the hospital, I went to a copy shop and printed out a divorce agreement. Then I headed home. On the way back, heavy rain suddenly started. I hadn't brought an umbrella, and getting a taxi wasn't easy, so I could only wheel myself home through the rain. As soon as I reached the front door, I heard laughter from inside. When I pushed the door open, I saw Sang Lin holding a hair dryer, gently drying Lin Hao's hair. Lin Hao was wearing my robe, my slippers on his feet, enjoying Sang Lin's attention, while blowing smoke rings. The burnt cigarette ash was casually flicked into the matching mugs Sang Lin and I used. I found it laughable. Sang Lin always claimed she couldn't stand the smell of smoke, that it made her sick the moment she smelled it, so she had forced me to quit smoking. Yet now, in a room thick with smoke, she looked perfectly fine. So it wasn't the smell of smoke she hated. It was me. In the past, I would have been heartbroken by Sang Lin's double standards, but now my heart was completely still. Not even the slightest ripple stirred. After sensing my gaze, Sang Lin immediately moved away from Lin Hao and asked awkwardly, "Shen He, why are you suddenly back? How ridiculous, seeing me come home." The first thing Sang Lin said wasn't concern, but a question. I glanced at them and said flatly, "This is my home. Am I not allowed to come back?" Sang Lin was left speechless by my reply. Lin Hao put on a fake smile from the side. "Brother He, Senior didn't mean it that way. It's just that your legs aren't convenient right now. If you had told us earlier, we would have gone to pick you up. And don't misunderstand. My clothes just happened to get soaked in the rain. Senior was worried I'd catch a cold, so she kindly brought me home to change. Your clothes happened to fit me, so I put them on. You won't mind, right? The same old trick again. Every time, Lin Hao deliberately provoked and irritated me like this, pushing me into losing my temper, so Sang Lin would dislike me even more. But this time, I only smiled faintly. Forget the clothes. Even if what you want is Sang Lin herself, I don't mind. Hearing that, Sang Lin's brows knitted tightly. She said coldly, "Shen He, haven't you caused enough trouble? First, you deliberately liked Hao's post, and now you're standing here being sarcastic again. Isn't it just that I asked you to take the blame for Hao? A teacher for a day is like a father for life. You are Hao's mentor. If the child is not taught well, the teacher is at fault. Now that Hao is in trouble, shouldn't you help him?" I couldn't be bothered with her twisted logic. A cold gust blew in, and I sneezed. I turned my wheelchair, intending to go inside and change clothes. That was when Sang Lin noticed my bare finger. She grabbed my hand and demanded, "Where is your wedding ring?" I had no intention of hiding it. I threw it away. Sang Lin's voice instantly rose in disbelief. "That was our wedding ring. You should wear it at all times. How could you just throw it away?" I looked at Sang Lin's ring finger, where she wore a matching couple ring with Lin Hao, and found it absurd. She wasn't He wearing her own wedding ring, so how did she have the nerve to question me? During the tugging, the divorce agreement in my pocket suddenly fell out. Sang Lin looked puzzled. What is this? Lin Hao immediately seized the chance to stir things up. Senior brother, he must have realized he was wrong. So he specially bought you a gift to apologize. I wonder what brother he got you. There's even a contract. It looks so formal. Hearing that, Sang Lin's expression brightened a little. Her tone softened. At least you know what to do. Hao, pick it up and take a look. See what Shen He bought me. In the past, whenever Sang Lin got angry, I would buy her gifts to make her happy. Sometimes jewelry, sometimes even a car, but every gift I gave Sang Lin, she would turn around and sell, then give the cash to Lin Hao. So this time, they also assumed I had come bearing a gift to apologize. Unfortunately, they were about to be disappointed. Lin Hao picked up the divorce agreement and read aloud. Divorce agreement. Sang Lin's face instantly went pale. She froze on the spot. A divorce agreement. Shen He, you want to divorce me? Are you out of your mind? In a fit of anger, Sang Lin rushed straight up to me. For the first time, the usually composed woman completely lost her calm. I remained indifferent. You and Lin Hao are clearly in love. Isn't it perfect if I step aside for him? I thought Sang Lin would definitely agree. To my surprise, she snatched the divorce agreement away and tore it to pieces. Shen He, Hao and I are completely innocent. Can you stop being suspicious of everything all the time? In any case, I will not get divorced. Fortunately, I had expected this. I had printed plenty of divorce agreements. I pulled out a whole stack from my pocket. It's fine. Tear as many as you want. I have more. Sang Lin's face flushed red with anger. Lin Hao seized the chance to fan the flames. Senior brother He must be upset because he has to take the blame for me. I should just confess myself. I won't trouble brother He anymore, and you two shouldn't argue because of me. As he spoke, he conveniently clutched his chest and coughed twice, pretending to be weak. Sang Lin pulled Lin Hao into her arms with concern and comforted him, then glared coldly at me. Shen He, how can you be so petty? Hao fell into the water, trying to save me years ago. His health has been weak ever since. What's wrong with me taking better care of him? You are my husband. Husband and wife are one. What's wrong with helping me? It was the first time I had ever seen someone outsource a life-saving debt. I shot back coldly. Sang Lin, that is your debt of gratitude, not mine. I have no obligation to help you, and back then, I was the one who saved you from the water. I am your real savior. Before I could finish, Sang Lin cut me off coldly. Stop lying. Hao was the one who saved me. How could you ever compare to him? Every time I mentioned this, she immediately got angry. She always believed I was shamelessly trying to imitate Lin Hao, when in truth, Lin Hao had stolen credit for what I did. Back then, Sang Lin had been pushed into the lake by a jealous roommate. I happened to pass by and immediately pulled her out. But while I was calling an ambulance, Lin Hao took advantage of the moment. From then on, Sang Lin firmly believed Lin Hao had saved her. This time, I didn't bother explaining. There was no point. If I was really that terrible in her eyes, then divorce was perfect. I would make way for them. As soon as I finished speaking, Lin Hao came close to me and pretended to advise, Brother He, you and Senior should both calm down. Don't act impulsively. But as he leaned in, he whispered, you still don't know, do you? It was my idea for Sang Lin to inject you with the muscle atrophy drug. I knew long ago that the drug had side effects. I wanted to see what a man, who can even use his legs, could possibly use to compete with me. My hands clenched tight. So it was you. Before I could react, Lin Hao suddenly stumbled backward and fell to the ground, scraping the skin on his palm. Sang Lin shoved me away at once and pulled Lin Hao protectively into her arms. Shen He, you read truly cruel. Apologize to A Hao right now, or I won't let this go. But she didn't stop to think. With my muscles weakened like this, where would I get the strength to shove anyone? You want me to apologize to Lin Hao? He doesn't deserve it. Hearing that, Sang Lin became furious. She yanked me out of my wheelchair and tried to force me to apologize to Lin Hao. My wounds split open again, and my face turned pale from the pain. Just then, Sang Lin's phone rang. The moment she answered, a co-worker shouted anxiously, "This is bad. Director Sang, the victims' families have come again." Sang Lin glanced at me and snorted coldly, "Shen He, weren't you acting so tough? Then this time, go deal with the victims' families yourself." Lin Hao's eyes filled with smug delight, but he still pretended to object. "Senior brother, he is still injured. If you hand him over to the families like this, something terrible could happen to him." Sang Lin didn't care. Good, let him suffer a little, so he finally learns his lesson. Ignoring my wishes, Sang Lin took me to the pharmaceutical factory. The moment we got out of the car, the victim's families surrounded us. "He caused this. Hand him over. He has to answer for what happened." Sang Lin pushed me forward without hesitation. "He is the main culprit behind the drug scandal. Do as you see fit." Lin Hao looked smug, but the families ignored me and rushed straight toward Lin Hao. "You lying. He is the one responsible for what happened." Seeing this, Sang Lin hurriedly shielded Lin Hao behind her and glared hard at me. "Shen He, did you say something to them?" She still didn't forget to explain to the families. "He is deeply unstable and often frames A Hao. Don't be fooled by him." At that moment, people from the regulatory department pushed through the crowd and stepped forward. After investigation, Shen He's formula had no issues at all. It was Lin Hao who increased the dosage without authorization, which caused the drug problem. Sang Lin still refused to give up. There must be some misunderstanding here. She had just begun trying to defend Lin Hao when the police arrived. "Sang Lin, you are suspected of intentionally causing serious criminal harm. Please come with us." The moment she saw the police, Sang Lin was completely stunned. "What serious harm? Officer, you must have the wrong person." As she spoke, she pointed at me and shouted, "You should be arresting Shen He." A Hao clearly did nothing. Shen He is just jealous, so he made up these rumors on purpose. It seemed Sang Lin wouldn't admit anything until the truth was right in front of her. I gave a cold laugh and pulled up the workshop surveillance footage on my phone. I didn't make anything up. This is the evidence. The video clearly recorded Lin Hao increasing the dosage without authorization. It also showed, after the incident, how Lin Hao and Sang Lin discussed shifting the blame onto me. This footage came from cameras installed by higher authorities a week earlier. Thankfully, the surveillance video proved my innocence. Otherwise, I truly would have had no way to explain myself. After watching the footage, the families turned towards Sang Lin and Lin Hao with fierce, accusing stares. "You two caused this tragedy. What else do you have to say?" "My poor daughter. She was only 5 years old. She passed away after taking your medicine. How could you be so heartless?" In the face of undeniable evidence, Sang Lin still stubbornly tried to deny everything. Technology is so advanced now. That video must have been fabricated by Shen He to frame us. You absolutely cannot let him fool you. I hadn't expected that even now, Sang Lin would still try to dump the blame on me. It seemed her love for Lin Hao was truly deep. Lin Hao echoed from the side. Exactly. There have never been surveillance cameras in the pharmaceutical factory. This footage has to be fake. Brother He, I know you read jealous that I was promoted and got raises faster than you, but you still shouldn't hurt me like this and make Senior and me take the blame for you. With the two of them singing the same tune, some people began to waver. I sneered. The surveillance cameras were installed a week ago, and higher authorities were the ones who sent people to do it. Sang Lin clearly didn't believe me. Impossible. Something that important. How could I know nothing about it? I looked at her and said word by word. Because at that time, you were busy going on a date with Lin Hao. A week earlier, higher authorities had called, requesting that every pharmaceutical factory add surveillance equipment to make production procedures transparent and open. When that call came in, Sang Lin was busy trying to make Lin Hao happy. She had booked out an amusement park and was having fun there with him. I only knew about it because Lin Hao sent me a taunting message, so I answered the call that day. And I was also the one who contacted and received the technicians. After everything was arranged, I wanted to tell Sang Lin, but she said she had spent the whole day entertaining clients outside and was exhausted, and told me not to bother her over every little thing. After that, I gradually forgot about it too. Thinking back now, perhaps everything had been fate all along. After hearing my explanation, Sang Lin finally remembered that this had indeed happened. Her face instantly turned ashen. While she stood there in shock, the families had already surrounded both her and Lin Hao, lashing out at them in anger and demanding that they answer for what happened. One furious family member even raised a water bottle and threw it toward Lin Hao. Just as it was about to hit him, Sang Lin stepped in front of Lin Hao and took the hit for him. Her forehead immediately swelled red. Sang Lin let out a pained groan, then hurriedly changed the subject. Even if that's true, it still doesn't prove we meant to cause anyone's death. How didn't he do it on purpose? As for the patients who passed away, they were simply unlucky. Looking at Sang Lin before me, I felt as if she were a stranger. She used to be a kind girl who would even rescue stray cats. But now, for Lin Hao, she had become cold and ruthless, treating human lives as if they meant nothing. The pure and beautiful Sang Lin from my memories had ultimately rotted away. Lin Hao also spoke up in agreement. One video doesn't prove anything. Maybe the patients themselves ate something unsafe, and that's what caused their deaths, unless you have more direct evidence. We refuse to admit anything. Seeing them deny everything to the end, the families were furious. They immediately looked to the police for help. The police officer gave Sang Lin a cold glance and said sternly, "We did not arrest the wrong person, Sang Lin, based on the evidence provided by Mr. Shen He and the results of our investigation. You intentionally injected Mr. Shen He with a drug and caused him to become paralyzed. The charge is supported by the evidence. Both witness testimony and physical evidence are present. What else do you have to explain?" Hearing that, Sang Lin immediately glared at me, her eyes practically spitting fire. "Shen He, you were the one who called the police. Why would you stab me in the back?" Lin Hao also spoke in a pointed tone. "Shen He, Senior is your wife. How could you treat her like this? If Senior were my wife, I would never call the police on her, no matter what. I sneered and fired back without holding back. That's why the two of you are a perfect match. One of you shields someone responsible for death, and the other helps make it worse. Truly perfect. Sang Lin stared at my legs resting on the wheelchair, clearly refusing to believe the police. Officer, I didn't mean to harm anyone. The drug I injected Shen He with only causes temporary muscle weakness. He should recover in 72 hours. By the timing, he should already be fine. He isn't paralyzed at all. This is all just an act to deceive you. As she spoke, she rushed forward. Before I could react, she yanked me out of my wheelchair. Shen He, stop pretending. There's nothing wrong with you. Is it fun to fake paralysis? But the very next second, my body went limp, and I fell straight to the ground. With the police helping me, I struggled back up and looked coldly at Sang Lin. Sang Lin, I was never pretending. Thanks to you, I really am paralyzed. Sang Lin froze. Impossible. That drug was clearly safe. I know. The effect must simply not have worn off yet. I interrupted her coldly. Let me tell you the truth. The solution you injected into me has side effects. One of those side effects is paralysis. Hearing that, Sang Lin's eyes widened in shock. She still refused to believe it and reached toward my legs. But when she touched my limp legs, she recoiled in fright. Her voice began to tremble. Impossible. Fake, this is all fake. You're lying to me. You have to be lying. How clearly told me this plan was foolproof. I suddenly found it absurd beyond words. She would rather believe Lin Hao than believe me. She couldn't bear for Lin Hao to get hurt, yet she had no problem hurting me again and again. For Lin Hao, she was even willing to use a drug that left me paralyzed. In the end, it was simply because she didn't love me. Thinking of it that way, the old me had truly been blind. I had actually chosen such a terrible woman. Seeing that Sang Lin still refused to believe it, the police directly produced the evidence they had gathered. One item was the test report for the solution Sang Lin injected into me. The results showed that the solution failed quality standards and carried very serious side effects. In severe cases, it could cause paralysis. The other item was my medical diagnosis confirming paralysis. Only at that moment did Sang Lin finally have no choice but to accept the truth that I was paralyzed. She immediately turned and glared at Lin Hao, questioning him coldly. Hao, what is going on? Back then, you swore to me that this solution had no problems. You lied to me. Lin Hao broke into a cold sweat from guilt. He didn't even dare meet Sang Lin's eyes. He turned as if to run, but the quick-eyed police stopped him first and detained him for questioning. Sang Lin's eyes reddened. When she looked at me, they were filled with guilt. She cautiously stepped forward, took my hand, and choked out, I am sorry. Shen He, I was wrong. It's all my fault you ended up like this. I truly didn't know that solution would have such serious side effects. If I had known, I never would have injected you. But I knew very well that it wasn't that she didn't know. It was simply that she never cared enough about me. If she truly cared, she never would have gambled with my well-being. I pulled my hand back and said coldly, Sang Lin, stop pretending. I will never forgive you. As I spoke, I took out the divorce agreement and held it in front of Sang Lin once again. Sign it. It's better for both of us. Sang Lin refused. She slapped the divorce agreement away. I won divorce. Shen He, please give me one chance to make it up to you, okay? My tone remained indifferent. If you refuse, I can still file for divorce through legal channels. This marriage with you, I am ending it. Seeing how firm I was, Sang Lin had no choice but to pick up a pen and sign the divorce agreement. After that, both she and Lin Hao were taken away by the police because the evidence was conclusive and they had been caught with everything exposed. The charges related to intentional harm and falsified medication were upheld, and they were sentenced to 3 months in prison while they were serving their time. I packed my things and moved out of the house. Using my savings, I rented a small studio apartment. I also accepted an invitation from my childhood friend to join his pharmaceutical company. In fact, even before this, my childhood friend had extended job offers to me many times, but because I wanted to stay by Sang Lin's side, I had refused his kindness every single time. Yet all my sacrifice and devotion had only been repaid with Sang Lin's betrayal. So when my childhood friend invited me again, I agreed without the slightest hesitation. It was time I fought for myself. The very next day, I reported to the new company. On my first day, my co-workers and childhood friend warmly held a welcome gathering for me. After that, whether in life or at work, they took extra care of me and let me truly feel warmth again. Back when I was at the pharmaceutical factory, even when I had a fever and was sick, Sang Lin refused to approve leave for me. She worked me to the bone like a draft animal, offering nothing but empty verbal concern. But here, when I caught a cold or got sick, my coworkers would genuinely help share my workload. When I performed well, my childhood friend would give me promotions and raises that had never happened before. Looking back, I had really been manipulated into stupidity by Sang Lin. 3 months later, Sang Lin and Lin Hao were released from jail. By then, their reputations had already been completely ruined by what happened. Someone had filmed them and posted it online, and they became infamous internet celebrities overnight, suffering relentless online attacks and insults. Even the pharmaceutical factory was badly dragged down with them. It declined sharply, facing widespread boycotts. For 3 whole months, not a single person came to purchase medicine or place orders. Revenue was miserable, and the factory employees had long since scattered. In the face of disaster, the factory was now on the verge of bankruptcy. During that time, Sang Lin kept contacting me, calling and messaging non-stop, frantically apologizing and begging for forgiveness. I am sorry, Shen He, I was wrong. I was truly wrong. Only now do I realize that you were the one who treated me best. I never meant to leave you paralyzed. Can you forgive me? Please give me one more chance. As if that would happen, I replied coldly, absolutely not. Give up. Then I blocked and deleted Sang Lin in one clean sweep. I thought that would make her give up the idea of pestering me. Unexpectedly, she still refused to quit and came straight to my door. That day, I wheeled myself home after work. The moment I opened the door, I saw Sang Lin wearing an apron and cooking in my kitchen. When she saw it was me, she set down the spatula and immediately came over with a smile. Her voice was gentle. Shen He, you're back. I didn't answer her. I only looked at her coldly. How did you find this place? And how did you get inside? I had clearly never told Sang Lin my new address, precisely to keep her from harassing me. I had also never given her a key to this place. Sang Lin lowered her gaze and said softly, you deleted me. I couldn't contact you. I asked your friend and found out you moved here. I knocked for a long time, but no one answered. I figured you hadn't come home yet, so I found a locksmith to open the door for me. Before I could react, Sang Lin had already pulled me over to the dining table. Let us not talk about that, Shen He. I specially made all these dishes for you. Please try them. How rare. In the past, Sang Lin worried Lin Hao wasn't he eating healthily, so she made him lovingly packed lunches every day. I had once wanted to eat a meal she cooked too, but she refused, saying she was an independent woman and not some housewife, and told me not to insult her. Then why can you cook for Lin Hao? He's just a kid. How is that the same? And honestly, you're already this old, yet you're jealous of a kid. Have you no shame? But now she had personally cooked for me, filling the table with dish after dish. In the past, I would definitely have been moved and softened, and I might even have chosen to forgive Sang Lin. But now, I merely swept my eyes over the food and dumped every dish away. Seeing this, Sang Lin's eyes instantly reddened. Her voice was full of grievance. Shen He, I made all of that especially for you. How could you trample on my sincerity like this? I looked at Sang Lin's tearful expression. Yet I remained completely unmoved. I said coldly, Sang Lin, we are already over. Can you stop being moved by your own performance? You said these dishes were specially made for me, but every single one has chili in it. I have stomach problems. I can't eat spicy food. We lived together for so long, and you still don't know that. Besides, the one who likes spicy food isn't me. It's Lin Hao. After hearing me say that, Sang Lin's body suddenly stiffened. A trace of guilt flashed across her face. I am sorry, Shen He. I didn't know. I'll remake a new meal for you right now. She turned toward the kitchen, but I reached out and stopped her. There's no need. Don't waste your effort. The problem between us was never about a few dishes. Sang Lin's eyes grew even redder, and large tears rolled down her cheeks. Her voice choked with sobs. Shen He, why? Why won't you give me even one chance? I am only doing all of this because I want to make it up to you. Now the pharmaceutical factory is in trouble too. Other than you, I don't know who else to turn to. As she spoke, Sang Lin had already sat down beside me. She naturally reached out and took my hand. Shen He, come back. Only now do I realize how important you are to me. Neither I nor the factory can do without you. Please help me, okay? After all, the pharmaceutical factory also carries your blood and sweat. That much was true. At the very beginning, the factory had only me and Sang Lin. During the early days of starting the business, we squeezed into a basement smaller than 10 square meters. Every meal was steamed buns with cold water. During that period, I ran back and forth between the factory and home, so busy my feet barely touched the ground. In order to develop new medicine, I forgot to eat and sleep. Several times, I pushed myself until I collapsed from exhaustion. Back then, Sang Lin knelt beside my hospital bed, held my hand, and promised that once we made it, she would treat me well for the rest of my life. But later, once the factory became successful, her heart changed. Seeing me fall silent, Sang Lin thought I had been persuaded. A flash of delight appeared in her eyes. Shen He, I knew you still cared about me. As long as you come back and help me, I can promote you to deputy director. All my previous promises will still count. Before she could finish, I interrupted her coldly. Sang Lin, I will not go back to be worked like an animal by you again. I am done being the one you exploit and treat like a fool. Whoever wants that role can take it. Sang Lin's face flushed red from being shut down. Shen He, how can you be so cold-blooded? I answered coldly, Sang Lin. The cold-blooded one is you. Don't forget, these legs of mine were ruined by your own hands. Sang Lin opened her mouth, still wanting to say something, but I had already lost patience. I took out my phone, ready to call the police. Leave. Stop bothering me. Otherwise, I'll report you for unlawfully entering my home. Seeing how firm I was, Sang Lin instantly flushed red with anger. She snapped petulantly, "Fine, I'll go. Shen He, I came here speaking nicely and asking you to return. Yet you don't know what's good for you. I gave you a way out. You're the one who refused to take it. Don't regret this later. Regret it? Impossible." I was overjoyed to finally get rid of her. Why would I ever regret it? After that day, Sang Lin really did stop coming to harass me. Clearly, I had angered her quite a bit. I was more than happy with that. I threw myself into work and focused wholeheartedly on researching Xingyao. I had originally thought Sang Lin's pharmaceutical factory wouldn't last much longer and would soon go bankrupt. But unexpectedly, Lin Hao actually helped bring it back to life. At Lin Hao's suggestion, Sang Lin partnered with a clinic and publicly announced that any patient who bought medicine from her pharmaceutical factory could receive treatment at that clinic for half price. Once the news came out, it immediately reversed the factory's earlier poor reputation and won praise from many people. After all, high medical expenses are a heavy burden for ordinary families. Now Sang Lin's pharmaceutical factory was directly cutting treatment costs in half. In those patients' eyes, she was practically a living saint. But that clinic had long ago been blacklisted for its terrible reputation. It had even been tied to a fatal medical incident before. I couldn't understand why Sang Lin would agree to work with a clinic with such a bad record. Just then, my phone received a message from an unfamiliar number. "Shen He, don't think the factory and I can survive without you. I have a how, and that is enough. Aaron you still waiting to laugh at me? Too bad. Ahau has already revived the factory. Sorry to disappoint you, and Ahau and I are already together. He is my boyfriend now. Even if you regret everything, it's too late." That tone made it obvious the sender was Sang Lin. Looks like this was her new number. I had originally planned to warn her to be careful with that partner clinic. But now, thinking about it, there was no need at all. Sang Lin never believed me anyway. If I truly warned her, she might even accuse me of being jealous of Lin Hao and deliberately spreading rumors, leaving me covered in trouble instead. I couldn't be bothered to respond, but my silence only provoked Sang Lin. Over the next few days, just to irritate me, she, who almost never posted on social media, began updating 3 times a day, frantically showing off intimate photos of herself and Lin Hao, along with updates about her factory. I remained completely unmoved and focused on my work. Eventually, I found it annoying, so I simply blocked and deleted Sang Lin's new number as well. I thought that after this, we would never cross paths again. Unexpectedly, not long after, we met again at a business reception. At that time, Sang Lin and Lin Hao were dressed in elegant matching formal wear. When she saw me, Sang Lin lifted her chin and mocked me coldly. "What are you doing here?" Lin Hao covered his mouth and said with a half-smile, Shen He must have hit a wall at work. Then he saw the pharmaceutical factory come back to life, so he regretted leaving. That must be why he followed you here. He wants to beg you for a job." Hearing that, Sang Lin's expression brightened a little, and the corners of her lips lifted. She looked down at me and said, "Weren't you acting so proud before? Why are you regretting it so quickly? You want to come back to work? Fine, bark twice like a dog. And maybe I'll be generous enough to give you a cleaning job." I felt disgusted. Don't flatter yourself. I was invited here to attend the reception. A good dog doesn't block the road. Move aside. After I shot back, Sang Lin's face flushed red with anger. "You're calling me a dog?" In a fit of rage, she directly called security over, wanting them to throw me out. Security, stop letting just anyone in. You refouling the air. Just as the guards grabbed my wheelchair and were about to drag me out, the hostess' furious shout rang out from behind us. Everyone, stop right now. Mr. Shen is an honored guest we personally invited. He is the deputy manager of Kaoyang Pharmaceutical. He is not someone any of you can afford to offend. Hearing that, Sang Lin and Lin Hao froze in place, their faces filled with shock. What Kaoyang Pharmaceutical? That is one of the top pharmaceutical companies in the entire country. Shen He is Kaoyang's deputy manager. How is that possible? I gave a cold laugh and casually showed my work badge. Believe it or not, it's the truth. Sang Lin stared at me in disbelief, her expression full of regret and complexity. Lin Hao, meanwhile, glared at me fiercely, his eyes flashing with unwillingness and jealousy. His gaze darted around. And then he said in a pointed tone, Shen He, you're a cripple we fired. How could Kaoyang possibly want you? You didn't get in through some improper means, did you? Sang Lin looked at me with open disappointment, her expression contemptuous. Shen He, we haven't seen each other for a while, and you've actually fallen this far, even if you couldn't find work. You didn't need to sell yourself. As the two of them echoed each other's slander, everyone at the venue cast strange looks toward me. I said each word clearly. I got in through my own ability. As for the two of you spreading lies, don't blame me if I sue you for defamation. And rather than worrying about me, you'd better worry about yourselves. Sang Lin looked confused. What do you mean? The very next second, a group of people burst in and surrounded Sang Lin and Lin Hao. The burly man leading them shouted that he would make them pay dearly. Sang Lin grew even more confused. Pay for what? What are you talking about? I don't even know you. The burly man's face twisted with rage. You still want to deny it? My mother only had a minor cold. She took your medicine and went to that clinic for treatment. When she came back, one of her kidneys was gone, and she passed away that same night. And my daughter, she only went in to have a tooth removed. But when she came back, part of her liver was missing. You monsters! Sang Lin's eyes widened in shock. She clearly knew nothing about any of this. What nonsense about kidneys and livers. Stop making up lies here, or I'll sue you for slander. I said coldly, Sang Lin, they are not lying. The clinic you partnered with really is a corrupt operation, running illegal organ trafficking schemes. It had already been tied to a fatal incident before. Did you not investigate at all before cooperating with them? Or did you know from the beginning and choose to work with them anyway? As I finished speaking, I handed Sang Lin the information I'd gathered on that corrupt clinic. After reading it, Sang Lin's face darkened completely. She turned and glared at Lin Hao, questioning him in a cold voice. Lin Hao, what is going on? You were the one who found this partner. Lin Hao panicked completely, seeing the matter exposed. He simply shifted all the blame onto Sang Lin. This has nothing to do with me. I only made the introduction. She was the one who agreed to cooperate. If you want to blame someone, blame her. Sang Lin's eyes filled with shock. She never imagined that the Lin Hao she had spoiled the most would turn on her. She snapped angrily, Lin Hao, I treated you well. How could you do this to me? Lin Hao sneered and stopped pretending. That was all your own choice. You were stupid. You can blame anyone else. You didn't really think I had feelings for you, did you? Don't be naive. If it weren't for money, how could I possibly be interested in a disgusting old woman like you? Old woman, so that's how you see me. Lin Hao, you heartless liar. Sang Lin's eyes turned red with rage. Unable to hold back, she rushed forward and slapped Lin Hao hard across the face. Lin Hao lost his temper too, and the two of them started scuffling. Before long, the victims' families also joined in, pinning Sang Lin and the others down in the chaos. At that moment, my childhood friend came looking for me and pulled me away to discuss a business partnership. Before leaving, he glanced with disgust at Sang Lin, who looked utterly miserable, and said on my behalf, "Serves you right. Shen He should never have saved an ungrateful wolf like you in the first place." Sang Lin forced herself upright and looked toward my childhood friend. "What do you mean by that? Wasn't T Lin Hao the one who saved me?" My childhood friend sneered. "The one who saved you was Shen He all along. Lin Hao was nothing but a thief who stole credit." Sang Lin turned to look at Lin Hao. "You lied to me again." Lin Hao gave a cold laugh. He shoved Sang Lin away. "That's your own fault for being stupid." Sang Lin completely broke down on the spot. In a burst of rage, she grabbed the fruit knife nearby and attacked Lin Hao in the chest. And he did not survive. After Lin Hao's death, Sang Lin clutched my hand while crying, tears streaming down her face. "I am sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me. Give me one more chance, okay? This time, I'll truly love you." I shook off her hand. "Don't touch me, you filthy." Then, ignoring her pain, I left without looking back. The police arrived soon after and took Sang Lin away. In the end, Sang Lin was imprisoned for the fatal attack. She suffered greatly inside, and before long, her mind completely unraveled. As for me, I kept getting promoted and receiving raises, and soon became vice president. During that time, my childhood friend kept actively searching for a way to help me recover. Heaven rewards the determined. He truly found a specialist who could treat paralysis. I immediately flew abroad and underwent surgery on both legs. 3 years after beginning treatment, and after persistent rehabilitation training, I finally managed to stand again. On the day I stood up once more, the sunlight was bright and warm. I thought perhaps the future would be just as beautiful.